It's on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, adrenaline we burn. Pit stops and fast cars, it's a wild ride. NFR, in our veins we can't hide. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. Every lap a story, every driver's dream. On NFR, racing's the supreme. Checkered flags waving, champions arise. NFR brings the glory to our eyes. NFR, where the legends are born. Speeding past the limits, engines reborn. In the fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. NFR with the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR's lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. You move to NFR, feel the speed. You move to Mount your engines, feel the heat. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah. Monday night, a chemist's feet. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah. SAFRL, the track's alive. Racing hearts, we just drive. Just drive. 8 p.m., the crowd ignites. Drama unfolds under lights. Speeding fast, never dive. SAFRL, we thrive. We thrive. We thrive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night, we survive. Rivals clash, engines roar. Roar. Every lap, we crave more. More. Flags wave, stakes sky high. One goal, catch the eye. Catch the eye. Catch the eye. Tires burning, adrenaline high. One mistake, wave goodbye. Teams unite, souls revive. SAFRL, we strive. We strive. We strive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night, we survive. We strive. We strive. We strive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night, we survive. NFR, it's time to go. Feel the speed, let it flow. Racing hearts, watch them glow. Turn it up, start the show. NFR, feel the heat. Fast and fierce, never beats. the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. Victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin. NFR, lights are green. Zooming fast, slick machine. Every twist, every scene. Catch the action on your screen. NFR, NFR, yeah. Drama high, stars afar. Round the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. Victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin. SAFRL, it's Monday night. Oh yeah. 8 p.m., the cars take flight. Come on. Speed and drama, thrills and chills. Oh, racing fast, chasing thrills. Yeah. Engines roaring, lights aglow. Highs and lows, we steal the show. Oh, turn the corners, feel the breeze. Oh yeah. In the zone, aim to please. Come on. SAFRL, racing kings. Feel the heartbeat, hear it sing. Speeding crashes, highs and lows. Feel the rush, let it flow. Come on. Monday night, the crowd goes wild. On the edge, every mile. Fast and furious, all in sync. SAFRL can't blink. Feel the tires gripping tight. Swift as lightning, taking flight. Come on. One more lap, one more chance. Victory's just one glance. SAFRL, racing kings. Feel the heartbeat, hear it sing. Speeding crashes, highs and lows. Feel the rush, let it flow. Come on.
Turn on the screen, it's NFR. Feel the rush like a shooting star. The engines roar, the tires scream. Fast as lightning, it's the dream. Speed and drama, every turn on NFR. The rubber burns. Feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Fernando calls to play on NFR. Every race day, commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR. turning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, our only friend. Deaf Queen, the top supporter, see in the crowd where speed is keen. NFR, the place to be. Join the race, watch and see.
Monday night, feel the vibe. SAFRL, alive, alive. Engines roar, crowds inside. 8 p.m. electric light. On the edge, they race so fast. Speeding by, won't let it pass. Highs and lows, a roller coaster. Drama here, we're getting closer. Feel the speed, feel the thrill. Crashes, spills, give us chills. SAFRL, you're the deal. Monday nights, it's all so real. Turn and twist, hearts in flight. Racing under the moonlight. Monday magic, can't deny. 8 p.m. we touch the sky. From the start they take their place. Pushing hard to win this race. Adrenaline in every lane. Fighting through the joy and pain. Feel the speed, feel the thrill. Crashes, spills, give us chills. SAFRL, you're the deal. Monday nights, it's all so real. Turn and start, they take their place. Pushing hard to win this race. Adrenaline in every lane. Fighting through the joy and pain. Feel the speed, feel the thrill. Crashes, spills, give us chills. SAFRL, you're the deal. Monday nights, it's all so real. Feel the speed, the thrill. High octane drama can't get our fill. Engines roaring loud, heartbeats on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, adrenaline we burn. Pit stops and fast cars, it's a wild ride. NFR, in our veins we can't hide. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. Yeah. Every lap a story, every driver's dream. On NFR, racing's the supreme. Checkered flags waving, champions arise. NFR brings the glory to our eyes. NFR, where the legends are born. Speeding past the limits, engines reborn. In the fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. NFR with the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR. fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. You move to NFR, feel the speed, the speed. Mount your engines, feel the heat. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah. Monday night, a chemist's beat. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah. SAFRL, the track's alive. Racing hearts, we just drive. Just drive. 8 p.m. the crowd ignites. Drama unfolds under lights. Speeding fast, never dive. SAFRL, we thrive. We thrive. We thrive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night, we survive. Rivals clash, engines roar. Roar. Every lap, we crave more. More. Flags wave, stakes sky high. One goal, catch the eye. Catch the eye. Catch the eye. Tires burning, adrenaline high. Oh, one mistake, wave goodbye. Oh, team tonight, souls revive. SAFRL, we strive. We strive. We strive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night, we survive. We strive. We strive. We strive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night, we survive. NFR, it's time to go. Feel the speed, let it flow. Racing hearts, watch them glow. Turn it up, start the show. NFR, feel the heat. Fast and fierce, never beat. Engines roar, can't stay off seat. Catch the thrill, it's so sweet. NFR, NFR. Drama high, stars afar. Round the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. Victor's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin. NFR, lights are green. Zooming fast, slick machine. Every twist, every scene. Catch the action on your screen. NFR, NFR, yeah. Drama high, stars afar. Round the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. SAFRL, it's Monday night. Oh yeah. 8 p.m. the cars take flight. Come on. Speed and drama, thrills and chills. Oh, racing fast, chasing thrills. Yeah. Engines roaring, lights aglow. Highs and lows, we steal the show. Oh, turn the corners, feel the breeze. Oh yeah. In the zone, aim to please. Come on. SAFRL, racing kings. Feel the heartbeat, hear it sing. Yeah. Speeding crashes, highs and lows. Oh yeah. Feel the rush, let it flow. Come on. Monday night, the crowd goes wild. On the edge, every mile. Fast and furious, all in sync. SAFRL can't blink. Feel the tires gripping tight. Swift as lightning, taking flight. Come on. One more lap, one more chance. Victory's just one glance. SAFRL, racing kings. Feel the heartbeat, hear it sing. Speeding crashes, highs and lows. Feel the rush, let it flow. Come on.
Turn on the screen, it's NFR. Feel the rush like a shooting star. The engines roar, the tires scream. Fast as lightning, it's the dream. Speed and drama, every turn on NFR. The rubber burns. Feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Fernando calls the play on NFR. Every race day, commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Not Fernando calls the play on NFR at race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Deaf Queen, the top supporter, see in the crowd where speed is keen. NFR, the place to be. Join the race, watch and see.
Monday night, feel the vibe. SAFRL, alive, alive. Into the war, crowds inside. 8 p.m.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to NFR. Welcome back to a Monday night with SAFRL. Of course, same venue as we saw on this channel last night for SKR. We're in Singapore. Officially the first ever night race on the F1 calendar. A few more than that now. Of course, now it's one of the shorter racetracks on the calendar, 4.9 kilometers. The new street circuit's coming out closer to the 6 kilometer mark. Some cars starting to come out. Don't expect too much action early on in Q1. It's not going to be any threat in this session. Guys just have to get to the end with the lap time. Doesn't look like anybody's going to be eliminated from the session. Of course, we're running a full quali, so we're supposed to lose 5 drivers at the end of the session. Fortunately, we only got the 14. Means we're not going to lose anyone at the end of this session. Guys can use it as a bit of a final practice. Welcome to Visor. Good to have you here. Somebody already leaving the session. Hopefully he can get back. Track getting busy. These first couple of lap times you really can't read too much into them. These guys know there's nothing at stake. They're not going to be pushing the boundaries just yet. And if you needed proof, well, there it is. Half the field's on intermediate. So don't expect anything explosive. Everybody seems to be saving tyres for the later stages in qualifying when it's going to be so much more important. Quite a few of you joining early on in qualifying. Good to see a good turnout on the stream. Hope you enjoy the race as things proceed. Of course, we had an interesting race here last night. Couple of virtual safety cars, couple of safety cars, quite a few penalties. Will tonight mirror those results. Of course, on Sunday afternoon we had our first ever Singapore Grand Prix without a safety car. So we do know that's also possible around these streets, getting around here without making a mess. Andre, one of the cars with the intermediate tyre. Just using this really just to put a lap time in. Nobody's too worried what that lap time is going to be. The Wakes is on a medium set of tyres. This is a new name. Is that Chooks? I think it's Chooks. I have no idea. Chooks, Chooks. Chooks or Chooks? Tomato, tomato. Who knows? I'll call him Chooks. Or Chooks. Whichever comes to mind. Please, sets the first time of the evening. It's a 1:51.3. I saw the lap times last night. I know they can go a lot quicker than that. That was set on intermediates. Ronald's gone over the line in P2, but that's on a set of softs. Then Andres P3, also on a set of softs. Top Gun goes quickest. 1:29.1. That's closer to what we're expecting. Let me know in the comment section. What do you predict for pole position? How low will it go? Of course, so far 29.1 is the fastest we've seen. I really don't expect to see the best out of these guys in Q1. This session is a mere formality. And if this driver is on debut, unless he's changed his name, but I think he is on debut, Chooks to the top of the field, 28.9. He's not hanging around to sandbag. Can also be a problem when you just coast through and then only give it your all right at the end. You haven't really practiced that fast lap. Don't want to leave it all to the end. You need to also just put in a decent lap. Nobody's going to get eliminated from this one. Thought one or two drivers might still squeeze in. But of course Q2 is going to be a far more important session, then we will lose 4 drivers. We'll head to Q3, the shortest of the 3 sessions. Going to determine your top 10. It's not the easiest race circuit to pass on. Franco Colapinto proved you could pass 3 cars into one corner. Well, it's not impossible. But it is a challenging one, especially when you get caught in a DRS train. So qualifying around this track, more important than a lot of other circuits on the calendar. Not quite as important as Monaco, but it's pretty much up there. For the order, it's Chooks. I can't even remember what I said the first time. Chooks. Then Andres in P2, Top Gun P3, then Logic and Wheeze P4 and 5, but both those drivers on the intermediate tyre. That is a warning to everybody else in the field. Now Gatosi goes over the line in P6, also on a set of intermediate tyres. So those drivers there, 4, 5 and 6, tremendous pace. We haven't seen it yet, but if they can do that on a set of intermediates on a bone dry circuit, I can only imagine what's going to happen when they put on a set of softs. Of course, if you are able to save a couple of sets of softs for the race, it can be very beneficial. Especially in a race here at Singapore where safety cars and multiple safety cars are a possibility. You want to have all the tyre choices available to you. Sometimes you're so desperate to get into Q3 you'll end up using all of your tyres. You don't have too much of a choice in the race. This is its Ferrari, also out there on a set of intermediates. Seems like all the quickest drivers out on intermediates. I think everybody on an intermediate set of tyres right now, you can consider them your favourites for the race. Scott, I'm not familiar with that name, but he's left the session twice now without getting into a car, so I wonder if he's just not able to take control of the car. Has joined twice. We haven't seen him appear on the timesheets. Says it's Ferrari, following him because he's the only driver out on a quick lap. He's just started that quick lap. Let's ride on board with him. Of course, when this circuit first came to the F1 calendar, it was considered insane. A street circuit at these speeds. But when you compare them to our latest street circuits, it's pretty tame. Of course, if you're familiar with the original layout, you'll remember the Singapore Sling. One of the craziest corners in Formula 1. Obviously that was removed for obvious reasons. Very dangerous corner. Accident waiting to happen. Couldn't really see the apex of where you were going. You just had to throw the car in and believe. Says it's Farees in this final sector, still on that set of intermediates. He'll either peel off into the pits or he'll stay out and set a lap time. He's chosen the latter. Goes up into P7 just behind Gatosi. And look at that. 4 intermediate runners in P4, 5, 6 and 7. Those will be drivers to watch when things get a little bit more serious in Q2. This is Andres. He's on a quick lap, currently second best, 29.0. Let's see if he can get himself into the 28s. Some of these drivers, they will have done multiple laps on the same set of tyres. That's not how you do qualifying. Just shows you that there isn't anything at stake. Guys can play this session as they want to. They can drive around here as quick as they want, trying to prepare for a quick lap in Q3, or they can just get around, set a lap, and go sit in the pits, call it a day. And that's what a lot of the drivers have done. Chooks, Wheeze, Logic, Faree, Ronald, Spikes, Maggot, Mr. Rem, all of those drivers have retired from the session. Andre has also retired from the session, but he did not set a lap time. Andres over the line, sets the fastest lap we've seen so far. It's 27.8, just a tenth faster than the debutant Chooks. Pushes him down to P2. It's not even a tenth, is it? It's 200th of a second between the two. But still so much to come from the cars you currently see in the midfield. All those cars that have retired, they've all done so on intermediate tyres, and they're sitting in the pits, which just confirms they have no worries about later on. Full of confidence. I asked for a prediction on the pole position time. I haven't got one yet. Let me know in the comment section what you think the pole position time is going to be. Also, can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me in the comment section. See one or two people asking about the sound. Everything looks okay on my side. Okay, the sound is working because I can hear myself. So Andres, quickest man so far. He's coming into the pits and will probably retire. Then Top Gun in P3, Awakes in P4. Those drivers are still in the session. Gatosi P7 still in the session, and Triple as well still in the session. All the other drivers have retired. Called time on Q1. Ready to go through to the next step in tonight. Of course, Singapore always feels like a very long race. It's going to be 31 laps around this layout. It's a challenging layout. It's very quick. Barriers come very close. And no matter how fast you are, any sort of lapse of concentration could either send you to the rear of the field or send you straight out of the race. I've only got Gatosi and Triple left in the session. Everybody else has retired. Both of those drivers I just mentioned remain in the pits, so no one out on track, no one to commentate on. Just gonna have to listen to me. So Andres Chooks, Top Gun, I think all of those drivers in the 29s, they were probably giving it a bit of a push. But all of those drivers on the intermediates, those are incredibly competitive lap times when you consider the tyre they were using. Looks like we are going to get a bit of action. Still in Q1. Is this Gatosi? No, it's not. It's Triple. It's the Red Bull coming out on track. Obviously his teammate up in P1 for the session. Looking to get a little closer to his teammate. It's always the first driver on track you want to beat. You want to beat them all. But first of all, you want to beat your teammate. We ride with the only car out on track. Triple, currently no lap time from him. The other driver that didn't set a lap time was Andre. He has since retired from the session. I hope that was a voluntary retirement and not an incident. If it is an incident, it means he's going to start the race from P14. Of course, if he just retired in the pits, then we will see him in Q2. Not enough drivers to activate any eliminations. Triple, I'm sure we've seen him out on track already, he just hasn't been able to get that initial lap time down. Easy to invalidate around this circuit. See his battery fully charged up, 100%. That's the indication that he's on an outlap. Warming up the tyres, warming up the brakes, making sure the battery is fully charged and ready to go. As he prepares for one final run in Q1. Just wants to get himself a little higher up the field, boost his own confidence before going into Q2. Of course, no lap time, he wants to see what he's capable of. And we'll soon find out. He's heading off into turn 1. Corner that will bring some nightmares to Ferrari fans. Sebastian Vettel just about throwing away a championship when colliding with his teammate right there. Turn 1, turn 2 in Singapore on lap 1. Let's hope we don't see any of that at the start of the race. Hopefully everybody's able to get through turn 1 cleanly. Last thing we want is a lap 1 safety car. Tozy has remained in the session, but the clock has run down. So when Triple goes over the line, that'll be the end of the session. It's currently in sector 2. Just about getting that lap time on the board. He's actually gone purple. Look at that, he's gone purple in sector 2, the fastest sector 2 we've seen so far. Is he able to hold on to the rest of the lap, get himself there high up the field, give him the motivation he needs into Q2, see what he's able to do over the line. Didn't see it, but he's just gone into pole position. Triple leaving it late and going right to the top of the field. So there are your results. Don't read too much into them. This is just Q1. Triple leads the field. Then Andres, Chooks, Top Gun, Awake, Squeezed, Logic, Gatosi, It's Free, Ronald, Spikes, Maggot, Mr. M, and Andre. All of those drivers will be going through to Q2. No eliminations, just the 14 drivers. But a lot more to play for in the next session. Will you look at that? I muted myself again. So we're back for Q2. Still the 14 runners. I was a little bit worried we'd only have the 13 runners. I wasn't sure about Andre's retirement, if it was an incident or if it was voluntary. There's confirmation it was a voluntary retirement because we've still got our allotment of 14 runners. Of course, now in Q2, still going to have the drivers that are fairly confident of getting through and won't be taking things quite too seriously. Won't be showing all of their cards just yet. Other drivers will be taking it very seriously. 4 drivers will be eliminated. 4 drivers will take no part in Q3. So there is position to play for in this session. Quicker guys, they might still fool around a little longer. The guys in the midfield, they need to get on with it. Of course, Triple, he was at the bottom of the field, hadn't set a lap time, left it right to the end, and what a lap time it was. Topped the times at the end of Q1. Of course, there were so many of the quick names that we saw set a lap time on intermediates, so we know that is nowhere near their pace. There's still a lot of drivers not showing what they're made of. Don't want to show their opponent just yet. Of course, for 1 or 2 of these drivers, maybe more, some of them, I think Spikes, Ronald, Andre. So some of these drivers, they would have been at this circuit last night, racing in the SKR League, also broadcast on this channel. They did the same layout, also a 50% race. The only difference being that race was with a short qualifying session. So they might have a little bit more recent familiarity with the circuit. They went for a strategy yesterday that didn't quite work. They've got that little bit extra data, that little bit extra experience. Something they can try and change in this race. Of course, it's also not a race all about strategy. If it's anything like last night, you get multiple safety cars. That strategy you had when you were sitting on the grid, it means nothing. Every time a safety car comes out, you've got to be on your toes. Do you pit? Don't you pit? Do you hold on to track position? What are you going to do? You roll the dice. Sometimes it works out for you. Other times, it destroys your race. And unlike Sunday afternoon, I think we can expect safety cars. Do have 1 or 2 of you here in the comment section who are in contact with drivers, and nobody's mentioned any rain, so I don't think we'll have to worry about the weather throwing any curveballs. I think the things we do have to worry about is penalties and safety cars. Speaking of safety cars, Maggot, I think he was getting ready to start a quick lap, and he's broken an end plate, so not the start he would have wanted to the session. Logic the quickest, then Chooks in P2. We've got the pair of RBs, Spikes and Top Gun. They were 3 and 4, they're now 4 and 5 because Maggot, he's gone up into P3 regardless of that broken wing. Remember, every little piece of carbon fiber is very necessary, so when you're missing a piece, you're not going as quick as you can. Maggot's still got a lot more than that, because he did that lap with damage. 26.7, the lap times now starting to get quicker and quicker. Wheeze, 26.7, then Logic a 26.9. Two drivers now into the 26s. Got its Ferrari in P3 with a 27.6, so he's almost a second adrift from pole position in P3. Reason Logic for now showing some dominance. I think we still have more drivers in the field that haven't quite shown up just yet. Still three drivers yet to set lap times. Triple left it very, very late in Q1. He's on an outlap at the moment. Still seems to be messing around a little because he's on the medium tyre. Andres, his teammate. No lap time from him. He's about to come over the line and start his quick lap. In fact, that was his quick lap. He's gone up into P4. Be happy with that. Remember, it's such a quick field. Get yourself on that first one or two rows. It's going to be critical in the race. It's going to be really difficult to overtake. Of course, this track has not been updated to life, so don't expect the 4 DRS zones. Maybe on the next game. There's an Aston Martin getting wheeled back into the pits. Andres on an in-lap. Maggot out on track. He's out on track, but those are used softs. And Mr. Rem also out on track on used softs. So this was the man that topped the timesheets in Q1. Left it very, very late. In fact, he was the last man to go over the line. Didn't have a lap time up until that point. When he did get that lap time in, it was good enough to take him to the top of the sheets. Now he's gone purple in Sector 2. This is what we saw in Q1. Just started lighting up the screens. If he is able to go to the top of the timesheets, it's going to be a very impressive lap time, because so far the best is a 26.7. Caution in Sector 3 and Triple M. Not good enough to go to the top of the timesheets this time. It's a 28.1, but look at the tyres. He did that on a set of mediums. Some of these drivers will also be running maybe an extra lap or two of fuel. When it comes to that ultimate Q3 quali lap, there won't be any extra fuel. This car will be stripped to its bare minimum. Running only on the fumes it requires to get around here for 3 laps. I've even seen some drivers just fuel it up for less than that. They run out of fuel on the in lap. Lots of you watching tonight. Good to have all of you here. Hope you're enjoying. This is Q2, still Q3 to come. 6 minutes remain in Q2. We will lose 4 drivers at the end of the session. Andre in P11 has retired from the session, so he's not going to be able to improve, and he's in P11. So he will be eliminated regardless of what happens in the remainder of the session. Ronald, he sits in the pits, currently being eliminated. Awakes, also currently being eliminated, but he is out on track trying to change that. Gatosi, also out on track, no lap time from him just yet. Also one of the drivers at risk. Then the 2 RBs, 9 and 10, they're also at risk. Got 3 drivers here behind them trying to improve. But those RBs will be out on track shortly. Really, Top Gun can't be feeling too comfortable in P10. Top 3 have all retired from the session. The quickest of the drivers still out on track is Spikes. That's the man down in P9. Everybody above him has retired. Awakes Currently 13th at risk, goes around the final corner looking for some sort of an improvement, something that can take him into the top 10. And nothing from the Alpine just yet, stays P13. This is Katosi, another one of the drivers at risk. You can see who's comfortable and who's not. Some of the drivers retired, some of them just sitting in the pit lane watching the race. Others frantically out on circuit, throwing the car around, looking for any lap time they can find. Katosi eventually sets a lap time. It's only good enough for P14. It's a 131.5. And he's got a lot more than that, but he's going to have to show it pretty soon. So Ronald, in the comment section for some reason, he's also in the elimination zone. Currently in P12, sitting in the pits. Still a bit of time to get out there and have one final run. But of course, what you don't want is to have that final run impeded. Sometimes you leave it for the end, knowing you've got an improvement in you. And then you get that final run all wrong. Sometimes you don't even have to get it all wrong. You just have to be at the wrong part of the racetrack. This is Andres. Currently in P5. He's out on a set of medium tyres. Triple, his teammate in P4, also set that time on a set of medium tyres. So expect more from the Red Bulls in Q3. Of course, this week we're running this format, which is the full qualifying followed by the 50% race. Ooh, and that's a big crash. That's a big crash for one of the favorites, and it didn't happen in Q3, it happened in Q2. So he's going to take no further part in qualifying this evening. Maggot, one of the drivers you could expect a pole time from, isn't going to get the opportunity to set that time. He's not going to get the opportunity to see Q3. Speaking of the different formats, of course this race, the full quali 50% race. The other race, it's the short quali 100% race. You're going to see both of those on the calendar this season. Of course the first race was a 100% race. Do have a few quick names missing from the field today, so it gives the drivers that are here an opportunity for good points on the night. If you haven't had the best start to the season, tonight's your night. Get some points, get your start in the championship. Ronald out on track, out of the comment section and back in the car. He's on an outlap, Awakes is on an outlap, Gotzi's on an outlap. Those three drivers all at risk, P12, 13 and 14. And I'm just not sure what happened to Andre, not sure if he thought that time was safe and just retired. But he will take no further part. One of the Ferraris looks to be safe. That is Mr. Rem in P6. The other Ferrari desperately trying to get through. Said he got home just in time to jump into the cockpit. Didn't do a single lap of practice. And he'd be very happy with a P10. So let's see if he can get into the top 10. Can get himself into Q3. Once you're in Q3, anything can happen. Drivers quicker than you can make mistakes. We saw what happened not so long ago to Maggot, and that didn't even happen under the pressure of Q3. So I say sometimes you won't see the drivers giving their everything in Q1 and 2. It's a little risky, Crash your car like that, you take no further part. That's what happened to Maggot. Two Ferraris going side by side. One of them in P12, the other one in P4. Session for Andres has finished. Ronald got a bit of a tow from his teammate and it seems to have helped. He went up into P9. Awakes behind him, looking for an improvement in P13. Spike's now the car at risk. Believe he's also out on a lap. Is he improving? That's the question. We'll either see him peel off into the pits or go over the line. He peels off into the pits, so no improvement from Spikes. Mr. Rem on track. Awakes out on track. He's about to go over the line. He has gone over the line and he has not found an improvement. So I believe that is the end of Q2. No one else out on a quick lap. So Wheeze, Logic and It's Free top the field. All three of those drivers retired earlier on, very happy with their lap times. But we have lost one big name. Of course, Maggot will take no further part. He crashed that car. And then Andre, early retirement after setting a lap time on mediums. He'll be eliminated as well. And Awakes looking for an improvement at the end. An improvement he just couldn't find. So there is your order. Wheeze tops the field, then Logic P2, It's Free P3. Then we've got Andres, Triple M, Mr. M, Chooks, Top Gun and Ronald. Those are the drivers that will be going through, just the 9 drivers. Then obviously a retirement from Maggot. Spikes P11, Andre P12, Awakes 13 and Gatozi the rear of the field. So it won't be a 10 car shootout, just the 9 car shootout because of the retirement of Maggot. There we go, just this confirmation from Maggot in the comment section. His explanation of the incident about as brief as Max Verstappen in the interview room. Just a simple oops. We're now in Q3, the business end of qualifying, the most important part of qualifying. This is the one that determines pole position. Doesn't really matter if you topped Q1 or Q2. This is the one that matters. Top Q3, you're going to start from the leading pit box into turn 1. That's what you want. Really don't want to be in the midfield here into turn 1. Maggot now quoting Kimi Raikkonen in the comment section. Very simple answer on the radio. Just the oops. Now we do have some cars out on the track. One of those cars, Chooks, one of the new names in the field, name I haven't seen before. So I presume he's making his debut, and so far it's been a fantastic debut. High up in the field in Q1 and 2, but this is the one that counts. And Maggot's watching it from spectator mode. Maggot, can I say you pulled a Perez? I think that's what happened. So we just have the one driver in the pits, that's Mr. M. The other 8 cars all out on track, all on outlaps. No lap times to speak of just yet. This is also the shortest of the 3 qualifying sessions, so not too much time to mess around. You want to get that first lap in, and it needs to be a decent lap, because if you get the next run wrong, Don't want to find yourself looking silly at the end of the session. Being too harsh on Maggot. Apologies to Maggot. Take it as an opportunity to gain some data. Watch your rivals. Mr. M, the last of the drivers to get out on track. But he's actually gone out on a set of intermediate tyres. That's right, at least you're in the top 10, unlike Perez. Oh, Sergio Perez. I think we could have a 1.5 hour broadcast just talking about Sergio Perez, and I wouldn't be able to finish the topic. There's just so much to say, and it all confuses me. Wheeze over the line and straight into the 26s, and when I say 26s, I almost mean 25s. It's a 26 flat from Wheeze. What a statement to make. First lap in qualifying, throws down the gauntlet to the rest of the field, and look at the gap. It's free into P2, but it's a 27.7, nowhere near 1.7 seconds adrift. That lap time from Wheeze, very impressive. And even more impressive, I read that lap time wrong. I said it was a 26.0. In fact, it's a 26.8. It's been improved by Logic 26.4. So we are getting a little closer to the 25s. 25 around here would be ridiculous. The drivers showing they're not that far off. This is Andres, 27.4. That was his initial run. Still waiting for lap times from the two Ferraris. One of those two Ferraris is out on track on a set of intermediate tyres. Not sure why he's doing that, leaving everything for the last run. Then Ronald sits in the pits for now. No lap time from him. He did say earlier on in the comment section he'd be happy with the top 10. Well, he's in Q3. I think he can also thank his teammate a little bit for that. Got a bit of a toe on that final run. Helped him into the top 10. Some drivers still trying to set their initial lap. Other drivers already out on their second. One of those drivers. Is this Andres on an in-lap? Or is he charging up for another? If he is charging up for another, then it's on a used set of tyres. Let's go back to Mr. M. He's going to go over the line on the set of inters, is he? Yes, he does. It's just a 33.6. Nothing to be expected of the green wall tyres. Didn't expect him to be lighting up the screens. Ronald remains in the pits for now. Should be a similar scenario to Sunday afternoon if the Ferraris were to finish in these positions. Of course, on Sunday they started 9 and 10. At the moment, they're sitting 8 and 9. Just as I was about to say, a quiet pit lane. Ferrari. Somebody darted out of the pits. There we go. It was Wheeze. Wheeze was the one that darted out of the pits. Of course, that first lap time out of the box was very impressive, 26.8. But then Logic came and changed it by 0.4 of a second. It's moved the goalposts. Wheeze is going to have to find a little more. And of course, Logic will still come out and defend that lap time. Try and get even lower into the 26s. Mr. M returns from his intermediate experiment. Heads off into the pits. Still no movement from his teammate. Ronald remains in his pit box, watching on for the best time to come out, maybe just planning on having the one run. Hopefully he changes those tyres, because he's sitting in the pits on a set of inters. So Ronald, don't forget, you're on inters. Make sure you get that soft compound on, otherwise you're going to get penalized like Max Verstappen for the words you're saying in your helmet. So Logic, the quickest driver so far, he remains in the pits with 3.5 minutes remaining. Wee's the quickest driver in the field that's out on track, currently in P2, 26.8. Such an impressive lap time when he set it. Thought it would have to be something impressive to beat him. Didn't expect it to be 4/10. Logic took that lap time away from the Mercedes. The Mercedes were actually 1 and 2 for a stage. But now Wee's trying to change that. Set the timing sheets alight in Sector 1, went purple. Quickest Sector 1 we've seen of the evening so far. Is he able to do it for the rest of the lap? Of course, some drivers will be quicker in some sectors. They'll have a great start to the lap. Maybe not a great finish to the lap. But he has gone purple in Sector 1 and he's backed it up in Sector 2. He's gone purple again. So Logic will be watching this on his screens and he'll be getting ready to go out there one more time. This lap is at risk. It all depends on this final sector, the shortest sector of the three. And it's good enough for provisional pole. It's a 26.3. It just found 1/10 over his opponent. And now Logic will have to come out. If he intends to start from pole, don't think he's going to accept that P2. It's not part of a race driver's mentality. Still remains in the pits with the clock ticking down. Wonder if he will come out. This is Chooks. P5, 27.8. There's your answer. As late as can be. Comes out of the pits with 1 minute 40 remaining in the session. This might be a little bit of a problem for him. He's got a Ferrari. It's also opening up DRS. Some of these drivers will be on quick laps of their own. They won't be wanting to get out of the way. It's the risk you sometimes have when you're leaving things as late as possible. You can always just catch somebody at the wrong part of the race circuit. Either they're on their own quick lap and not worried about what's happening behind them. Sometimes they're just on a cool down lap and they're a little bit too relaxed. They don't see you there. Lots of things can happen, and when you leave it late, sometimes it comes back to bite you. Seems like Logic has cleared that traffic. Don't see any cars ahead of him now, so you should have a clean racetrack to set this final lap time. Of course, Wee's set the initial quickest lap. It was taken away by Logic. Then Wee's came back, found another 10th. Now Logic's going to have to dig deep one final time. Here is its Ferrari. I think we've seen all of him just yet. 27.4. Can he become the third driver into the 26s? Or will this be a two-man domination at the top of the field? Everyone in the field will be hoping that doesn't translate into race pace. Otherwise those two could just disappear up the road. Of course, that's why we hope for safety cars here in Singapore. Keeps on bringing the field together. Keeps everyone in the race. This is Logic. Didn't see his sector one time, but he's currently in sector 2, looking for an improvement. It wouldn't have to be a big improvement. If he's able to find a 10th, it's going to be enough to put him into pole position, or at least provisional pole position. There's still some drivers behind him. That explains the intermediates. Thank you, Ronald, for the reminder. Of course, in Q3, if you choose to go out on a set of intermediates at the end of Q3, if you happen to be the only driver on intermediates or the fastest driver on intermediates, get an additional 5 bonus points towards your championship. Logic, I said we might see a 25. I said that sounded a little ridiculous. We almost got one. A 26.0. That's what I thought Logic got the first time. Well, he got it the second time. 26 flat. We almost got a 25. How insane that would have been. This is Ronald. He's still out on a set of intermediate tyres. Well, he's coming into the pits. So it looks like the 5 bonus points will go then to Mr. Rem. It's actually a good start. You start in P8, but you've already got those 5 points. It's like a P4 in a sprint race. Some handy points. And if you're able to make up some good positions at the start of the race, you can elevate yourself higher up in the top 10. With the addition of those 5 bonus points, you can take home a nice haul at the end of the night. Even more viewers joining now in anticipation of the start of the race. You've joined us just at the end of qualifying. Welcome to all of you. Of course, remember to leave a like on the video if you're enjoying it. This is your results for Q3. We had that crash for Maggots, so just the 9 cars going through. The order will be Logic and Wheeze on the front row, second row Andresen for Ree, then they're going to be followed by Triple, Jukes, Top Gun, Mr. Rem and Ronald. And of course the car that retired in Q2, Maggot, will be starting from P10. Of course tomorrow night when we return for League v League, it won't be Singapore, it won't be like last week, 3 of the same circuit in 3 nights. Of course tomorrow night we'll be going to Belgium. But before we go to Belgium, we've got to get this done. We've had Q1, we've had Q2, and we're done with Q3. And now it's time for the business end. This is where you get the big points. Some of the drivers will be missing teammates, other drivers will have their teammates. This is a good opportunity for those teams that do have 2 drivers in the competition tonight to get some good points. Get both cars in the top 10. Some support for Logic coming through in the comment section. Of course, don't forget about Maggot. May have had an incident, may have put his car out of position in P10. But it's one of the drivers you can expect to come through the field. He's got the pace to do so. But around Singapore, it's not always about the pace. It's about keeping that front nose clean. Wing damage around this circuit can make things very, very difficult. So important on the first lap to keep it clean. Keep all your carbon fiber bits on the car. We're off into our formation lap. One final opportunity for the drivers to get one last feel of the circuit. Of course, in qualifying they would have been running very, very light cars, almost no fuel in the car, just enough to get around for 3 laps. Now they'll be carrying fuel for 31 laps. The car's going to be a lot heavier, it's going to feel a little different in the high speed corners. See, in qualifying it's set up to be the ultimate rocket ship. As the race goes on, of course, the car does get lighter, it will start to feel a little better, but that obviously also gets cancelled out by your tyres going off. Popular compound, at least the most popular compound, is the mediums. Nobody choosing to go on the soft tyre. Of course, Mercedes put Lewis Hamilton on a soft tyre starting from P3, which proves to be a very strange decision. Nobody has chosen to do that. Everybody on the medium, 3 drivers going on the hard, triple in P5 for Red Bull. Then one of the Ferraris, Ronald, in P9, also on the hard. And then the man right at the rear of the field, Awakes, the third of the drivers on the hard. Of course, those 3 drivers, they'll be out of sync with the rest of the field. If everything goes according to plan, they will be going long into the race. These medium tyres do have longevity, they're not going to be going off anytime soon. Saw Gattosi there, just got a DSQ, so he's been sitting in that pit box for quite some time. Probably have no tyre temperature left. It's not the way you want to approach turn 1 with tyres that aren't ready. We now wait for all the cars to line up. We then get the red lights. Once there's 5 of them, we get a pause. They go off, and so do we. We're underway in Singapore into turn 1, Sauber versus Mercedes. And the Mercedes on the inside just gets pinched by the Sauber, isn't able to get through, but will he get through this time? It's going to be about traction. Sauber will have the inside line this time round, and we've got a virtual safety car on lap 1. No overtaking, everybody has to just slow down, drive within the delta. Really frustrating at the start of the race. That's when you can make up the most positions. Logic was all over the back of the Mercedes. Then that virtual safety car came out, nullified everything. Of course, we did see that particular glitch in the game last night, where the game was telling me it was a virtual safety car when it was in fact a full safety car. But I haven't seen any evidence of a safety car out on track, and the virtual safety car has come to an end. So we're back underway. Wies versus Logic at the front. It's Ferrari still very much in that battle. Andres P4, then Chooks on debut in P5. Make that P6. He's just been passed by Triple M. Then the second of the Saubers on the move. I said he was going to come through the field. Didn't expect him to come through the field this quickly. Up into P6 now for Maggot. This is lap 1. Of course, if you know the famous lap 1 of Ayrton Senna around Donington in the European Grand Prix 1993, made up 4 positions in 1 lap. Lap 1, commonly referred to as one of the best lap 1s of all time. 1993 European Grand Prix, and the only ever Grand Prix held at Donington. Wies leads the way from Logic, 2/10 of a second is the gap. Then it's Ferrari in P3 doing well to hold on to these 2. Andres a little further back, he's a second back, so he's falling out of DRS as we speak. He's followed by his teammate, 2.2 seconds adrift. and he's going to start coming under pressure from Maggot in P6. Maggot first needs to shake off the Mercedes. Mercedes also coming under pressure from a Red Bull. Everyone in the field at the moment with their hands full. It's Wheeze out front, Logic P2, it's Ferrari P3, everyone holding station for now. Just applying the pressure. This is the view from the man in P2 and the man that's just set the fastest lap of the race, Logic. Of course, he's got the benefit of DRS there in P2. It's Ferrari also not too far behind. He stayed within DRS, so important if he wants to hold on to the top two. Just a slight mistake from Wheeze up the road. We saw that on the traction, just getting the car squirming, and it was enough with the help of DRS for Logic to retake the lead of this race. Wheeze now getting demoted to P2. Would have preferred the clear racetrack ahead of him. So Logic from Wheeze from its Ferrari. Nice helicopter shot there of the top three in the same frame. Then we've got the pair of Red Bulls, 4 and 5. Maggot made up his way to P6 awfully quickly. Now he's just sort of stabilized in that position, not really making up ground on the Red Bulls. Still coming under pressure from the RB behind. That was Top Gun that has cleared Chooks, and now he's putting the Selva under pressure. Selva would like to be getting through this order, but instead he's got to watch his mirrors. Coming under pressure. Logic set the fastest lap on the last lap. Now he set the fastest lap again. Purple after purple, throwing everything at it. He's just behind him. It's the problem with DRS. You can be the quicker man. That driver behind you is just able to stay with you. Cancels out that advantage. Wheeze back into the lead of the race. Logic back into P2. I think we're going to see a lot more of this as the night goes on. These two trading places at the moment. They're able to match each other's pace. Doing a fantastic job. Further down in the field, it's Ferrari. Now starting to lose touch with the top two. 1.5 seconds adrift. He's fallen out of that crucial DRS range. Then a further 1.5 second gap to Andres. Then 3.7 seconds back to Triple. Lots of big gaps early on in this race. Major DRS train down the field. That's for P6. Maggot's at the front of that. He's followed by Top Gun, Chooks and Spikes. All of them looking to steal that P6. Maggot having to go defensive against Top Gun, and Top Gun coming back for more. Salva did really well in the opening few laps. I wonder if he's picked up any damage. No, he hasn't. Well, looks fine. Just hasn't been able to progress any higher up the field, and now coming under serious pressure from the RB. Still able to hold his P6 for now. The most dangerous place to be right now is the driver behind Maggot. The more that driver defends, the more that driver closes the door on you, the more frustrated you get. And if it happens for a little too long, begin to drive in anger. And that's when all sorts of mistakes creep in. You want to get the move done. You don't want to sit behind that car for too long. Pressure starts building. You've got pressure of your own behind you. You have to remember you're in a DRS train. And just as you're looking to make up positions on the car ahead of you, everyone behind you has those same ideas. So lots of gaps in the field early on. Midfield, the closest of everything. course at the front, there's absolutely nothing in it. Ferrari's actually come back into this battle. We saw him 1.5 seconds adrift. He's now back within DRS. I wonder if those two just tripped over each other a little bit. Doesn't look like anybody's got damaged, so it wasn't a serious incident if there was an incident. Of course, this could just be it's Ferrari switching on his tires. But I wonder if those two just had a nudge, or maybe went off circuit. Because it's allowed it's Ferrari right back into this top 3 battle. It was in P3, but the top 2 were getting away. Now Logic and Wheeze continue to trade places. And I think every time they do it, it's going to bring the Aston Martin just that little bit closer. We've gone for a two-way battle. It looked like quite a dominant two-way battle. Somehow it's Ferrari has inserted himself in that battle. The Red Bull in P4. Max Verstappen in the Red Bull was able to get a P2 in Singapore. I think he would have been happy with that. Not a good circuit regularly for Red Bull. Triple. Top Gun has had his go at Maggot. Wasn't able to get past. Maggot, on the other hand, was able to get past Triple M. So Maggot put a car in between himself and Top Gun. We'll be hoping Top Gun can keep him there for quite some time so he's able to get up the road. Doesn't want to see any more of that RB in his mirrors. Let's go back to the front. Logic, Wheeze and it's Ferrari. 3 cars separated by 0.8 of a second. We had a battle of the 2. Now we have a battle of the 3. It's Ferrari very much in this race. It's only lap 7 of 31. Got a very long way to go. We now have a caution flashing on our screen. It's gone away as quickly as it's appeared. It's been a relatively clean race so far. We just had that retirement of Mr. Rem. Just right at the start of the race, you can see his mediums had 0 laps, so that was as early as it could be. I'll be a little disappointed with that. It's always that build up to the race, the build up in qualifying, the anticipation of that race starts, and then when it ends on lap 1, it's really disappointing. Still a long way to go in this championship. Not all is lost. Far from it. Wheeze on the back of the Sauber. This time around doesn't make a move into turn 1. He's happy to just stay there. Wait for the next DRS zone. Try to get past then. And he's got to keep his eyes on his mirrors as well. It's Ferrari wanting to break his way into the top 2 for the first time in this race. Been good enough for P3 throughout. Hasn't quite been able to break into those top 2, but this is the closest he's been. And the more these two battle, he'll be sitting there in P3 and just hoping these two make contact. Another caution flashes on our screen. I think that's in sector 1. And all is clear. All is moving. That's what we want to see. Team race from start to finish. We want to see these guys push to the end. All 3 of these cars matching each other lap after lap. Who's going to be the first one over the checkered flag? Somebody going to get this pit window wrong. Of course, no pit stops to speak of yet. Nobody started on the soft compound. If they did, I think we'd start to see the soft tires coming in round about lap 9, lap 10, but that's not important because there are no soft runners. Let me know, medium runners, when would they come in round about lap I'd say probably between lap 12 and 14. Some of you in the comment section will know a lot better than me. So that suggests we're maybe 5 laps away from a pit window. Drivers will start to think about that pit window. Nobody seems too close to their teammate, and as I say that, I notice the two RBs. They're very close together and they are on the same set of tyres. The reason I bring that up, it's a bit of a problem when you're approaching the pit window and you're very close to your teammate. Sometimes you might be on different strategies, one on the medium, one on the hard, but when you're both on the same set of tyre, same strategy, very close on track, then a decision needs to be made. Somebody going to pit first? Or are you going to just slightly drop back behind your teammate to try and eliminate the double sack? Doesn't always work. And if your teammate does have any damage on that car, you're going to sit there for an awfully long time waiting. That's why we're probably seeing the two RBs racing as hard as they are, because you want to be the car in front when that pit window does come. At the same time, you don't want to take your teammate out. Such a good opportunity for the teams that have double cars here this evening. Get both those cars in the points. Nice handful of points early on in the season. Of course, in this season what we've also done is where there is a Grand Prix, we try and follow the F1 calendar. So yesterday F1 was in Singapore, today SAFRL is in Singapore. But as you know, for the next 3 weeks there will be no F1 Grand Prix. So when there is no Grand Prix, we fill that in with our own races. And here at SAFRL they've decided to go the mystery race route, which means the drivers will only know the destination of round 4 5 minutes prior to the start of qualifying. The drivers won't be as polished up next week. It's difficult to practice when you don't know where you're going. Of course, the next 3 races will all be mystery races. Difference with next week, we return to the 100% format. %% of a track which is still to be revealed. We's still out front, Logic still P2, it's still very much in the picture. All 3 of those cars, just 7/10 of a second separate them. It's too close to call for now. Support coming through for Maggot, he is making his way through the field. Of course, started in P10 due to that crash. He quickly made his way up to P6 in the opening lap of the race. He's only just been able to make up 1 position since then. That's as a result of Triple M losing a few places. And look at that, Spikes. What a great view we got of it. Came up the inside, took P5 away. And Maggot, he was making up ground. Now he's lost a position. Spikes also now on the move. So many quick drivers in this field. Sometimes you forget, spend too much time watching the front, and every now and then you go to the midfield and you go, oh wow, there are quick drivers all the way through. We's out front, then Logic, then it's Free. I believe that is Big T in the comment section, saying the race pace out front is slow. It doesn't appear to be slow. Of course, this is fast driver talk, and that is a language I don't understand. Saying they're maybe conserving their tires, well, I don't see it. They seem to be going very fast compared to what I'm capable of. That's the problem with being a commentator. When you're a slow driver, quite difficult to critique these guys. Of course, that's why we've got to get something going where we get drivers in the comms box as co-commentators. Maybe get someone for SKR from SKR here on a Monday night. Maybe get somebody from a Monday on a Sunday night. Just mix it up, get a driver's point of view. Drive once a week, but I'm not the one to go to for strategies and pace. It'd be nice to have one of the quicker drivers in here to get a proper perspective of what he thinks is going on out on circuit. Saying they're definitely not going slow. That's a 13-second gap. Definitely the top three looking incredibly quick, and I've probably read that message a little late. Saying a 13-second gap, it's no longer a 13-second gap. 16 seconds between the top three and the rest of the field. Andres, best of the rest, was in P4, came into the pits. It's the first of the drivers to, or at least one of the first of the drivers to come into the pits. Wheeze, Logic and SAFRL. We need to get Big T here in the comms box sometime soon. Wheeze leads the way from Logic and it's SAFRL. I've said it so many times this race, but they remain in that order. And the gap continues to grow at the front. Of course, some of the drivers have now made pit stops. Ronald now the man in P4. He was one of the drivers that started on that hard compound, looking to go a little deeper into the race than everybody else. Sometimes that doesn't always work out for you if there's an early safety car that closes up the field. All that work you were doing on the hard doesn't pay off because it closes the field. Luckily for everyone who did start on the hard, conditions have worked out well for them. Top three still on the medium compound. We saw pretty much the entire field with the exception of 3 drivers started on the medium. You can now see a majority of those runners have got rid of the medium tyre. Just 4 of those drivers remain. Wheeze, Logic, it's SAFRL 1, 2 and 3, and then Maggot in P7. Those are the only drivers on their original set of tyres, and as I say that, Maggot has actually come into the pits to get rid of those mediums. So now just the top 3, and I'm almost certain they will come in on the same lap. They're all following Wheeze. When he comes into the pits, I think we're going to see 3 cars come into the pits. Of course, these tyres will be pretty used now, so you'll definitely see all 3 come into the pits, because I think an extra lap around here on the used tyres could probably hurt you. And they've proven me wrong. They've proven me wrong. Logic does not follow the leader. Wheeze stays out. It's SAFRL was in P3, he's now in P2, stays out, holds on to track position. And out of those top 3 runners, Logic pulling the trigger first, diving into the pits. Maybe he was just following the leader, saw he didn't pit, said, well, I'm going for the undercut. He's come into the pits first. He's back out on track on a set of hards. And surely P1 and 2 are going to have to respond immediately. So it's Wheeze versus it's SAFRL. It's been Wheeze versus Logic all the way, but Logic has made his pit stop. Might just break up this top 3 a little bit, the pit window. They've been so close together, matching each other's pace. Wonder if that undercut will work out for Logic. Want to get confirmation. Where are the leaders? We want to see when do they come into the pits. Surely they'll respond. They would have seen Logic disappear from the track. They would have seen him fall down to P3 in the timesheets. They know he's pit. He wouldn't mind getting through before they enter the pits. It's not often today that we see cars pass each other in the pits. All the mechanics pretty switched on, and if you know how to hit the purple, well, pretty much everybody gets the 2.2 second stop. So Wheeze into the pits and quickly out of the pits. Where is Logic? Did this pay off for him? He's coming around the final corner. Well, there are his opponents. They're slowly coming out of the pit exit. Will this be close? Or has he made up ground on his opponents? I think he's made up some ground. Oh, he's made up some nice ground. Those cars were so close together. Now he's got a 1.8 second gap on the rest of the field. That quick reaction, that roll of the dice, it's worked out for the Sauber driver. Don't think it's going to make too much of a difference in the race, but Logic will have tyres that are one lap older. Really don't think that's going to make too much difference. Maybe in the final lap or two he might have a slight handicap compared to his opponent. But I don't think that's the case. Just the one lap difference. Thumbs up for Logic in the comment section. Good call. Thought everyone would wait for the leader and then follow the leader, but he did not follow the leader. Leader stayed out. He dived in at the last moment. Another thing to remember that's impressive here in Singapore, he got that car slowed down. Very quick pit entry. Need to get it slowed down for the left-hander without going over the line. Did all of that, got the car stopped. It's a 60 km/h pit lane. Can catch you out sometimes. And all three of those drivers did exactly what they needed to do. Logic, the fastest man out on circuit, is in the lead and he's setting purple laps. So Wheeze, he's been so close to the Sauber throughout the race, needs to dig deep, needs to find something extra. Matching him won't be enough at this stage. Needs to be a little quicker if he's going to close this gap. Top three were so close together, now they're so spread out. Gaps at the front now opening up. Big T just saying this is more of the pace he expected. Logic opening up the taps, giving it all. He now sees that gap getting bigger and bigger. That just gives you even more motivation. You know what you're doing is enough. You don't have to push to the ultimate limit. You know what you're doing right now is enough to go on and win this race. You just need to keep the car pointing in the right direction. Problem is when you're giving it your everything and you're not opening up that gap, that's when you start to feel the pressure. Logic again. Quickest lap, 29.4. He's left it 4 after the pit window, but his pace in the second stint of the race just seems to be superior to the rest of the field. Wheeze, he's been close to him throughout the race and in qualifying, just doesn't have what he needs to catch up to the Sauber right now. Gap was 1.8. It's now 2 seconds. 29.4 for the fastest lap. Incredible lap times here, incredible pace. Cars will be a lot lighter than they were at the start of the race. These will be fresh tyres. Guys will be having a little bit of fun. Of course, these tyres should have more than enough life to get to the end. I don't think anybody's going to be necessarily falling off on the tyre grip towards the end. Everybody should be quite comfortable, and up to this point we've had a very clean race. Just the two drivers with penalties. Just to get confirmation of the penalties, nothing too serious. Top Gun and Triple both picking up 3-second penalties. That's obviously for track limits. Just to bring up your quickest laps in the race. Obviously the fastest lap of the race was a 29.4 for Logic. We have a 29.6 for Wheeze. So he's also right up there. That's the only two drivers that have circulated in the 29 so far. It's Faree's fastest lap is a 130.6. Everybody else in the 31s. So Logic, gap's not growing, but neither is it shrinking. This is the problem for Wheeze. When he was close to the Salva, he was just able to match his pace. He's still able to match his pace, but now there's a gap in between them. Matching the pace is not enough. Needs to go quicker than Logic. If he's going to turn this into a race again, if he's going to put the Salva driver under pressure. Logic, Wheeze, and It's Faree. It's Faree has since fallen off 6.8 seconds down the road from the top two. But Andres in P4. A lot of drivers having lonely races at the moment. Spike's P5, Duke's P6, Ronald P7. A lot of the drivers will be thinking, where's everybody else? Some drivers can't see anybody. The drivers that can see somebody, very far up the road. So no real battles on track to speak of right now. Just the one car within DRS. It's battle for P6. Ferrari versus Mercedes. Something we've seen so many times back in the Vettel-Lewis era. Mercedes and a scarlet red Ferrari battling around the circuit. Big T also just mentioning the tyres. Logic did have that 2-second advantage. Interestingly enough, he must have made some sort of an error, or Wheeze has just picked up the pace, one of the two, because that gap has fallen to 1.5 seconds, so quite a significant drop. Maggot gets a 3-second penalty. We would have been hoping that notification was for a fastest lap, not for a penalty. The opposite result that you want. His teammate still doing a good job, 1.5 seconds up the road. Wonder if that was a mistake from the driver, or if that was just an improvement from the driver behind. Logic, then Wheeze, 1.4 seconds, so the gap continues to fall ever so slightly. Big T was just mentioning the tyres. Of course, Logic does have that one extra lap on his tyres. Could make a difference right at the end. So a mixture of the two. Logic just dropping a bit of pace, and Wheeze picking up a bit of pace, getting closer and closer to DRS. And these two cars that have spent majority of the race together could soon be together again. 1.4 seconds is the gap. Now a 3-second gap appears for Awakes. Every time I see a penalty, I get a little worried that it's going to be one of these drivers in the top 3 battle. We don't want to see a penalty deciding this race. It's been a fantastic qualifying session. It's been a fantastic race. 2 drivers pushing each other to the very end. And the last thing we want is for a penalty to be the decider. So hopefully both these drivers don't have any warnings next to their name. And so far, so good in the safety car column for everyone. Lap 22 of 31. Race going by pretty swiftly. Singapore can sometimes feel pretty long, but we've got through this pretty nicely. Just the one retirement right at the start of the race, activated a virtual safety car for about half a lap, then we were back underway. And ever since then we've had a couple of yellows, but that's it. We also haven't had too many battles in the midfield. As you can see, all the cars pretty spread out, having their own lonely races. All the action happens to be at the front. And that's where we're going to keep our broadcast for now. Logic leads from Wheeze, and he's now comfortably within DRS. 0.6 of a second. He's not going to be close enough, anywhere close enough to do anything this time round. But now he's going to be comfortably within DRS. When that DRS opens next time round, he's going to be a lot closer to the Sauber than he was last time. Start putting Logic under pressure. Logic was opening up the gap beautifully, went up to 2 seconds. Now he finds the Mercedes back in his mirrors. Almost a permanent sight for him. Either the Mercedes is in his mirrors or he's looking at the Mercedes rear wing. These 2 cars just have not gotten away from each other. Looked like they may have gotten away from each other a few laps ago. 2 seconds separated them. But they've sort of magnetized together again. A big slip there by the Sauber driver. Logic losing the back end, doing a fantastic job to hold on to things that could have ended very badly. Tight part of the race circuit, would have lost a lot of traction, and this is going to allow Wheeze to come right at him. Logic still out front, but for how much longer? Wheeze getting as close as he can. The move has to come shortly. It's a lot closer this time around. Is he going to go for the inside? No, he doesn't. He's happy to stay there for now. Saw Logic just making a slight mistake. He'll know he's pushing him to the limit. He's on the edge of things. Just wants to keep applying that pressure. When the mistake does come, capitalize on it. Not the easiest circuit to make an overtake on. Sometimes requires a little bit of bravery, requires a little bit of a lunge. The man who pulled off the most impressive lunge, that had to be, I think I mentioned it already in qualifying, but Franco Colapinto. 3 places into turn 1. Overtakes are possible, but they require bravery. It's Logic and Wheeze, 0.4 of a second. Big T just saying Logic now dropping a little bit of pace. She's doing enough to just stay in front. The gap 0.3 of a second. It's about as close as we've seen. Surely this time Wheeze will line him up, go for the overtake, or is he just going to stay behind again? He just stays behind again. Wheeze playing mind games. It's all about keeping your head in these situations. Of course, so easy when you're under pressure, when you have to make decisions. Ooh, and a slip. I was going to say a slip from the Sauber, but an even bigger slip from the Mercedes. So both of these drivers pretty much on the limit. Sauber did go sideways. We saw him go sideways on the last lap. This time he went sideways, and the Mercedes followed him with an even bigger slip. They're now coming up to Lappen Alpine. I believe this is a Wakes. He is in control of that car. I just believe the car ghosts when it's about to be lapped. One or two drivers don't like it. They say it's unrealistic. Well, I prefer it. Imagine we had a race like this. Cars matching each other to the end. And then it's decided by a backmarker who puts the car in the wrong place. I think this is definitely the better option. Definitely cat and mouse. Lots of interaction in the comment section. I think you guys are enjoying this race back home. These two have been neck and neck in qualifying times and in race times. They haven't separated. The furthest apart they were was 2 seconds. That was after the pit window. I thought maybe the race had come to an end, but Wees closed that gap awfully quickly, and now he's going for the lead around the outside. And I think there was contact. There may have been contact. Logic does hold on to that position. Wees is in P2. Both the cars keep momentum. Nobody's retired. That's the positive about it. Unfortunately for Itzferee, that's not going to bring him back into the race. He's 15 seconds adrift. He's got a very comfortable third place. Doesn't need to worry about Andres catching him anytime soon. So I think he's pretty much given up on those two up the road. His only hope is they make contact. Now, up the inside. Wees doesn't get it stopped in time, or does he? No, he doesn't. Logic back to the front. This is going to be a game of who's managed their tyres better, and maybe even more importantly, who's managed that battery better. Who's going to have their battery fully available on that final lap. Don't want to give the numbers out in case the drivers are listening, but if you're watching at home, you can see them on your screens. Of course, one of them a lot lower than the other. Drivers are going to have to play it smart. Keep that battery charged, especially if you're Logic, especially if you're the car at the front. Car behind you is going to have that advantage of DRS on the final lap, and the battery is going to be your only defense. So you need to make sure you have as much of it available as possible. Still Wees and Logic, nothing has changed. I've said it the entire race, Wees and Logic. At one stage I was saying Wees, Logic and Itzferee, but Itzferee has since fallen back. That was after the pit window. It looked like these two just went into another gear. Pulled away from that Aston Martin. Since then they've just been able to match each other. Wees now the car at the front. I wonder if that one lap tyre advantage will come into play. We do have a caution. It's lap 27 of 31. Hopefully that's all it's going to be. I don't see anybody dropping down the field, so I think we're okay. That yellow has disappeared. Wees versus Logic. Lap 28 of 31. This is now the closing stages. This is now the business end. You've done all the work, but all that work can go to waste if you find one of these barriers. Side by side stuff with 3 laps to go. You don't see it often. 2 guys racing this close for the duration of the race. Neither of them making a mistake. Just pushing each other to the very end. It's the best sort of race. It's a race you want to see every night. Who's gonna win? You don't know right till the end. Wheeze out front, then Logic P2, 3/10 of a second. We said it could come down to the battery. Those two drivers with very different levels of battery. 28 of 31. Don't want to sit in P2 for too long. Leave it all for the final lap. Might just run out of tarmac. You might just make a mistake at a critical time. We've seen both these cars get it sideways. Even though they're the quickest in the field, there have been one or two mistakes of their own. Difference is quality drivers, they're able to catch that car. A lot of drivers, they would have lost that car and found a barrier. Not only is it impressive that these two have matched each other for so long, what's impressive is they've traded places so many times. There was only that one moment where it looked like there was contact. Luckily no damage for either driver. They were both able to carry on, and this battle is still very much alive. Lap 29 of 31, not much longer to go. I think we are in safe territory when it comes to a safety car, so well done to everybody out on track. A Singapore Grand Prix without a safety car. It's not something you expect at the beginning of the night. Just the one retirement. That triggered a virtual, that was on lap 1. And judging by that lap 1, tonight's race would be a safety car fest. It didn't turn out that way, but what a race it's been at the front. We're running out of time, we've got 2 laps to go, and we still don't know who the winner of this race is going to be. 3/10 of a second is the gap. We look down the field to see if there's any other DRS battles. Ronald is battling triple for P6. We also have Maggot fighting Andre for that final point in P10. Trying to keep our eyes on the leaders now for these closing stages of the race. Logic done a fantastic job of keeping that Sauber ahead. Remember, he does have the 1 lap tyre disadvantage. That's it slightly early. If he does go on to win the race, it could come down to that moment. That moment he dived into the pits unexpectedly. I was saying that Logic and Ferrari would probably follow the example of Wheeze. Wheeze stayed out, Logic dived in dramatically. Last minute decision to come into the pits. Gave him an undercut of 1.8 seconds. Held on to that lead for a bit, even extended it up to 2. Then Wheeze reeled him in. But he's done a fantastic job of not letting Wheeze past and get up the road. When Wheeze has got past, he's challenged him right back. I feel sorry for everybody else in the field, but we can't take our eyes away from this battle. It's the lead battle, and it's a battle that's gone out throughout the race. And now sideways action for the Sauber, just trying to get on the power as early as he can. Maybe a little too early, but luckily again just holding on to the car. So many other drivers would have put that car into the wall. Shows you not only are these two quick, they're quality. That's where they made contact last time around that corner. This time the Sauber to the outside. This is neck and neck. No damage there, but there was definitely a tap on the back of the Mercedes. Sauber would have been holding his breath. Logic would have been waiting for that menu to pop up with a yellow or a red wing. Luckily it stayed away, and now we have got damage. We have got not only damage, but a retirement in what until that moment was probably one of the most epic races of the season. One of the best races I've commentated on. Unfortunately, it's not decided at the checkered flag. It's decided a few kilometers before the checkered flag. Weeze made a mistake at the end. It's bound to happen. They were pushing so hard. Logic has done the job. He made the pit stop when it counted. He rolled the dice. But it wasn't as simple as that. He still had a lot of work to do after the pit window, and he did everything he needed to do. His opponent was the one that made the mistake. Further down the field, still waiting for a lot of cars because those two were so far up the road. As of course I just thought somebody else retired, but that's not the case. That's just Weeze's name falling down the order. Of course there weren't many lapped cars in the field, so he's at risk of falling out of the points. There we go, does fall out of the points. Sometimes, if there are a lot of lapped cars, you can still hold on to a points paying position, but not tonight. Weeze out of the race and out of the points in P11. After what was a guaranteed 25 or 18 points on the night. We'll now go home with 0. It all came down to just half a lap remaining. What a fantastic race by Logic. Apologies for muting the game, but F1 likes to copyright this for some reason. Driver of the day goes to Spikes. What a drive by Logic. Really came down to that pit stop. So let's go through your results quickly. Logic takes the victory, really nicely done. Had to push right to the end. He also got the fastest laps at 26 points on the night. Then it's Ferrari in P2. Looked like he was not going to be in the top 2 tonight. He'll be happy with that. Then Andres picks up an unlikely podium. Spikes in P4, Ronald P5, nice position for him. Then Triple in P6, Chooks P7 on debut. Then Top Gun P8, Andre P9, and Maggot collecting a point in P10. No points on the night for Weeze P11, Awakes P12, Gatozy 13, and Mr. M, the one and only, well, Weeze also retired, but on the timing screen, the one and only DNF. Of course, now we're going to give it just 2 or 3 minutes, see if anybody decides to go into the cool down room. We can then quickly pull them into the comms box for a chat. Of course, last night nobody decided to join, so sometimes guys not too keen. We'll just give them a minute or two to see if anybody does collect on that side. Of course, if you have any questions for the drivers, I'll try and get it through to them. You can just put your question in the comment section. And why are my monitors going crazy at this time? This is not a good time for my monitors to be going crazy. There we go. Do we have anyone here? Yeah, we've got 2 drivers in here already. Let's see if we can get another driver or 2 in the cool down room. It's Ferrari and Weeze. Both of these drivers doing fantastically well tonight. I think it's time we're going to bring them into the comms box. So guys, if you're in the middle of a chat, be aware, I'm about to bring you live. Somehow I need more monitors. So there we go. We'll just switch that off. Unmute the cooldown room. And there we go. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Who do we have? We've got It's Free, we've got Wheeze. It's Free. You were in P3 for a majority of that race. Didn't look like you were going to get a top 2 position, but a nice surprise there at the end.
Yeah, nice for me. I don't think so much for Wheeze, but yeah, the whole race I had to save fuel. I took a gamble and underfueled quite a bit. And then there was no safety car, so after the pit stops I had to back off and just save fuel.
Of course, it's one of the tracks you do expect safety cars, and that didn't happen. So if you did underfuel, it actually becomes quite tough, especially at a quick track like this. Not a lot of fun to be lifting.
Yeah, especially with the first stint, because I sticked with Wheeze and Logic. And then the second half of the race I had to back out. Couldn't push anymore.
Because from the commentary perspective, you know, obviously I don't have that information, so I wasn't sure if the top 2 had just found another gear or if you had some sort of damage, because it did drop back pretty quickly, and in the first stint of the race there was no evidence of that. You were able to keep up with the top 2.
Actually, I think with the first stint, I saved. I think it was only 0.1 because I underfueled by 1 lap, so I only saved 0.1. And then when Logic pitted, we pushed that lap, and then I basically lost 0.05 again. So I definitely wouldn't have made it if I kept on pushing. So
Was
I
a
had
solid
no.
race, especially if you were saving fuel. We'll quickly go to Logic. We'll quickly go to Wheeze, rather. Wheeze, tell me a little bit about what happened there on the final lap.
Well, I saw George Russell's excellent last year, and I thought, why not? Let's try and do the same thing. No, I don't know. I think someone moved that wall, to be honest with you. You get so dazed out when you drive like that. You don't even realize how close you're getting to the walls. And yeah, I guess I just pushed a bit too hard.
We didn't get the best camera angle of it. We just saw you disappearing from track and carbon fiber appearing on our screen. But up until that moment, it was quite the race. You guys were pushing each other and matching each other lap after lap. Just nobody could open up a gap beyond DRS. Do you find that frustrating, or do you enjoy that sort of race?
No, I enjoy that. I enjoy it. Like, it's frustrating in the time, but when you go back, it's like, flip. It was a fun race. I'm not even mad I crashed it. I'm still shaking from all the adrenaline. So yeah, it was a good one.
Look, that's the best kind of race. That even when you crash, you're like, you know what, that was worth it. And I've got a lot of viewers on the stream tonight, so I think everybody enjoyed it. It was a great race. Between you two guys, I just want to check the Discord that nobody else has joined, and I've abandoned them. Nobody else has joined. But between the two of you guys, any of you two racing tomorrow night? But the League
No,
v League.
Not too sure. I'll have to see if I can make it.
I can't because I got top 3 last week, so I have to sit out.
Of course, that is your magnificent reward for getting a podium in League v League. You miss the next round, you get treated like Magnussen. But that would be an interesting rule to introduce to F1. Finish on the podium, you miss the next round. But
Yeah.
I want to thank the two drivers that did join us. Wheeze, thank you for the racing. It was close to the very end. I wanted the checkered flag to decide that victory, but unfortunately, it was decided with half a lap to go. Free, also strong race, solid race, and you got that P2 in the end due to the mistake. But guys,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Thanks for joining the comms box. Just going to end the stream real quick. So if you're still watching, and a lot of you still are watching, thank you very much for joining the stream. It's been busy from start to finish. There's been a lot of interaction in the comment section as well. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to Big T for all the race data. I appreciated that. And we'll be back tomorrow night, same time, 8 p.m. with League v League. Until then, thank you, everyone, and cheers.
Start, they take their place, pushing hard to win this race. Adrenaline in every lane, fighting through the joy and pain. Feel the speed, feel the thrill. Crashes, spills, give us chills. SAFRL, you're the deal. Monday nights, it's all so real. Turn and start, they take their place, pushing hard to win this race. Adrenaline in every lane, fighting through the joy and pain. Feel the speed, feel the thrill. Crashes, spills, give us chills. SAFRL, you're the deal. Monday nights, it's all so real. Feel the speed, the thrill, high octane drama can't get off fill. Engines roaring loud, heartbeats on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, adrenaline we burn. Pit stops and fast cars, it's a wild ride. NFR, in our veins we can't hide. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. Every lap a story, every driver's dream. On NFR, racing's the supreme. Checker flags waving, champions arise. NFR brings the glory to our eyes. NFR, where the legends are born. Speeding past the limits, engines reborn. In the fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. NFR with the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR's lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. You look to NFR, feel the speed, the speed. Mount your engines, feel the heat. Monday night, a chemist beat. SAFRL. drive, just drive. 8 p.m. the crowded nights. Drama unfolds under lights. Speeding fast, never dive. SAFRL, we thrive. We thrive. We thrive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night we survive. Rivals clash, engines roar. Roar. Every lap we crave more. More. Flats, waves, stakes sky high. One goal, catch the eye. Catch the eye. Catch the eye. Tires burning, adrenaline high. Oh, one mistake, wave goodbye. Oh, team tonight, souls revive. SAFRL, we strive. We strive. We strive. Just drive. Just drive. SAFRL, feel alive. Just drive. Just drive. Monday night we survive. We strive.